All right, welcome back to another episode of Who You Got. I'm Greg, he's Jimmy. If it's your first time joining us, do us a favor, hit that like, subscribe button for us. And if you're joining us again, coming back to hang out, we appreciate you coming back. And please remember to follow us on X and Instagram at Who You Got 33. And please check out our new YouTube channel, especially the shorts, as they are getting a lot of views, and that's also at Who You Got 33. And also check us out, Jimmy, as you know, at KC Sports Authority on the YouTube channel, as they are going to put up some of our content over there, and we'll put up some of theirs over here eventually. So, Jimmy, let's jump right into it, and I'm going to come right at you today. Your Mets are done. D-O-N-E, good night. You're missing the playoffs. That team sucks.
It's not great. I mean, I felt good when they had the skid earlier in the year and they made the strong comeback, but they're getting cold again at the wrong time. Could they get a run? Sure. I will tell you what, it's not Soto's fault. So he was catching a lot of heat. He's had over the last 5 games, he's hitting the ball pretty well. I think he's batting over 300. He's got 3 home runs. He's walked 4 times. So like it's not his fault, which I don't know why that makes me feel a little better. But yeah, I mean, all the pundits around here are talking about calling people up from the minors and this and that and the other thing. I mean, nobody's playing real well outside of that. Nimmo has no hits in the last 5 games. He's walked a few times. Can't really blame Pete Alonso, because without him, they would have been dead 2 months ago. So he's not hitting the ball as well, but I won't take it out on him. Pitching's not great. Yeah, I mean, since we talked about them a couple weeks back when they went on that run where I think they were 9-1 in 10 games. They swept the Giants series. They went down to San Diego and they lost that first game against the Padres. They should have won. They were winning up through the 7th. They gave that game away, and since then they've gone 1-11. So that's like they've lost that game they should have won. They never recovered. They played the Giants in another series. They got whooped. They got whooped by Cleveland. They got whooped by Milwaukee. Yeah, I don't have a lot of hope left.
Yeah, looking at the standings, forget the division. That's over. Philly's not going to let them come back from 5.5 out on August 11th. And the Reds are getting hot at the right time. Run differential is better than the Mets. And honestly, their pitching is better. Lineup on the Mets, I'll lean Mets maybe on the batting order, especially when the Mets are actually hitting. But Reds overall, better ball club. And I think they're going to run them down. And 4, 5, 6 weeks ago, I would have never thought the Mets were going to miss the playoffs. I think we said, oh, yeah, they're in. The Cubs are in. We were going through it. Mets aren't making the playoffs. Yankees might still. I mean, the Yankees might pull this off. I don't think the Mets are making the playoffs, Jimmy. 1-9, their last 10. You just called it out, 1-11. They've lost 7 in a row. Like you said, this is the second lengthy skid of the year. You just can't go on big skids like this and make the playoffs.
No, you get 1, you don't get 2 usually. And like I said, there's just not enough baseball left. Hey, if the Reds make it for my buddy Micah, I'd feel good for him. If the Yankees miss it, I certainly hope it's the Guardians that take them out. They're only a half game back in the wild card. But yeah, I mean, never thought we'd be sitting here in mid-August discussing a world in which both New York teams don't make it, right? I would have been excited if you told me it was the Yankees that weren't going to make it, but the Mets were. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, look, they're not completely dead. To your point, they still have the wild card, but the Reds are surging, and I don't trust the Mets pitching at all. They've got a super quick hook. Their starters don't get deep into any game. So, I mean, we'll find out what happens.
I think yesterday's loss is going to just be tough to come back from. I mean, you're up 5-0, finally looking like you're going to break this losing streak, and then boom, 7-6, Brew Crew.
It doesn't look good. Yeah, I mean, look, their bats aren't alive, but they're not getting shut out of most of these games, right? Like that's
this is more the pitching.
This
You're
is the pitching, right? That's the problem, right? And so yeah, and that's not going to suddenly get fixed with a couple of months to go. So yeah.
No, and I'll tell you right now, if the 51-67 Braves can just keep piling on with the Mets, they will, because who hates the Mets more than the Braves? So they'll be very happy to continue your misery.
Yeah.
And that's your next series. So
I'm sure they will. For about 40, 45 games left, we'll see what happens.
All right. Old Timers Day, speaking of the Yanks, happened this weekend, and I don't know if you saw the story, but poor Mariano Rivera was out there in the outfield and blew his Achilles.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah. I mean,
oh,
Yeah, old timers day, going to have a fun time and blow your Achilles out.
Oh, that's
Not
no
fun.
good. We actually have a friend that was there. I got some pretty cool pictures from that game. Good picture of Michael Kay walking, a couple feet away. It was looked like a great time.
Yeah, Clemens was there for the first time. Clemens played for the first time ever in the old timers game, and it still pains me to see him in a Yankees uniform. Growing up as a Red Sox fan, but the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame, every time I hear his name, I just shake my head, going, "How do we have a Hall of Fame without this guy in it?"
He should be in it. He almost could have played in the old timers game at the end of his career. It's pretty
I
close.
know, and that was with an ERA of sub 2
Yeah.
when he was doing it for the Astros. I mean, this guy. I mean, the fact that he's not in the Hall of Fame, I know Bonds people go nuts about too. To me, it's Clemens is the biggest one that like this is a joke. Get the guy in the Hall of Fame like now.
Yeah, we talked about that before. I think they probably both should be in there. If you're telling the story of baseball, why not? You want to talk about the records, whatever. Everybody seemed to be guilty for an entire era of baseball, right?
Right.
So unless we wipe a 15-year span off the map, then I don't see why it should matter.
I think people just should have handled it better. Like Andy Pettit, it was like, yeah, I did it,
Yeah.
and then everyone's like, all right, Andy, it's fine. You're in. It's fine.
Yeah. Hey, come on.
It's like, come on, it can't be a double standard. I mean, just whatever. He did it. He was the best pitcher of his time. Put him in the Hall of Fame. It's absolutely stupid. He's not.
Yeah, well, probably like Pete Rose. Once they're gone, they'll put him in.
Yeah, that is what I don't want to see happen.
Yeah.
All right, how'd the UFC go? How did we do?
So UFC was actually a really good card. It was a pretty entertaining card. I'll comment on just a couple things. I'm going to start with the very first fight of the night, the early prelim. Nobody gives a shit about the fight, so I won't actually break it down. But it was Cody Brundage, who some people would know. It was really smart of him to put him on the very first fight because he's fought on television plenty of times. But he fought this guy, Eric McConaughey. I don't care about the fight. We'll talk about the fight. It goes back to our argument about decisions. Eric McConaughey won a split decision. He won 29-28 on 2 cards, and he lost 30-27 on the other card. So 2 judges saw 29-28, and one judge said, nope, Cody won the whole fight. Every round. 30-27.
It's insane. Like, that is my whole thing. We talk about it all the time on this show. It's so hard to bet this shit because could you imagine you're sitting there going, oh, I won this, and then all of a sudden 2 judges are like, you know what? You didn't.
No, you absolutely did not. So I thought that was wild. I did think it was a really good fight. It could have gone either way. I understand how it could be close, but for some people, and one round was clearly the other direction. So anyway, I mean the judge, like literally Cormier is commenting on this. He's like, "Did we watch the same fight as the judges? Did we just?" Yeah. So that was unbelievable. There were some really good fights throughout the card, though. There was one. Earls Medic got clipped early in this fight. Came back. He beat Urbina in the first round. That's a great fight to YouTube real quickly because it's only about 45 seconds. Came back, threw a straight left down the middle, knocked him out. That was very exciting. There was another fight. My goodness, what's the guy's name? It was Elijah Smith. He picked this dude up and slammed him like Rampage Jackson used to do. Sent the guy to the hospital. They had to have updates throughout the process. I mean, he slammed him on his head. He was stuck in a triangle. It was brutal. But his only way out to get out of this triangle choke was to slam the guy, and he picked him up and slammed him down like you've never saw. Andre Touchy-Feely got a win, even though he wasn't supposed to. So there we go. You and I had text to play on Lucindo that came through, so we won there. And then on our the 2 bets that we placed, we lost. One of them I still feel good about. O'Day Osborne lost to Steve Urseg, but O'Day almost had him finished and lost a split decision, right? Steve Urseg managed to stay in it, won the third. Could have probably gone either way. I think Urseg did win the fight, but at plus 425 we got. That's why I said it was worth a shot because he could get him out of there, and he came really close. The apology I owe, not that any of them listened to it, is Anthony Hernandez beat Roman Dolidze up, and I never thought I'd see that happen in this fight. When you saw him at the weigh-ins, you saw him at the start of the fight, Anthony Hernandez looked like he was a full weight class below Dolidze, and Dolidze is a strong grappler and a good striker, and Hernandez just wore him out and then took him out. He had no chance. This guy is going to be problematic. I was dead wrong, and I'm going to tell you, I mean, he is going to yeah, he's obviously ranked now, but he's gonna really have a shot at getting the title. Again, he fights at 185. He looks like he could fight at 170, but he fought a guy who's clearly bigger and theoretically stronger and physically dominated him. So it didn't seem to be an issue. I mean, he was just all over him. So really great win. I was dead wrong on Anthony Hernandez, and I will not bet against him again because he looked awesome.
And then just a quick little preview coming up this week. Good card, bad card.
Good card. I wish we had time to break it down. We usually do it on the second show of the week. There's not a lot to bet on, so I won't dive deep into the theories. Let me pull up the live odds here because they shift around a little bit. The only fight that I actually like to bet is the main event. So Dricus du Plessis is fighting Kazmat Chimaev, and DDP is the champ, and you're getting plus 185. Now, Chimaev is undefeated. He's the favorite for a reason, but this isn't like, I mean, DDP's really good. He's only got 2 losses. He comes through in every fight, and he's beaten Sean Strickland. He's beaten Israel Adesanya. He's beaten all the people he needs to beat, Robert Whittaker. So if you're going to give me plus money with the champ, I'm going to take it almost every time. Kayla Harrison being the one that we talked about a few weeks ago, notwithstanding. So yeah, I know Cosmod's great. I know he's the one everybody's picking, but DDP's the champ. He's beaten everybody else, and you're going to get plus 185. It's worth a full unit, if not 2, in my opinion. I think and still. Then beyond that, I don't know, man. LaRon Murphy is the second fight. Like, it's not really the co-main event, but it's the second piece, and he's plus 140 and he's undefeated. We bet on him last time. We won. He doesn't really do anything. He fights very conservatively, right? He's very talented, but he fights very conservatively. He's obviously stepping up in competition, but he is undefeated, and I think if he needs to turn it up, he will. So I would take LaRon Murphy as a dog at plus 140. So we're going to try to get that back. After that, not much bettable. Some good fights. Our boy Carlos Prates, my favorite fighter currently, is fighting Jeff Neal, but he's minus 265. It's just too much delay. King Green, your boy, is fighting Diego Ferreira. He's plus 136. I don't really have a feeling on that either way. They both are coming off a loss. King Green coming off a couple of losses. And then further down the board, I thought about Chase Hooper at minus 325, but he's very similar to LaRon Murphy, where his last fight was super conservative. He was trying to get the win, trying to pay his bills. He didn't do anything wild, and like we talked, can't count on the scorecard, so I'm not going to lay 325 or even combined it because I thought about him and Prates as to pair those two together, but there's just too many things that can go wrong. So yeah, the only two I would throw a couple of bucks on is I would go a unit or 2 on DDP, and I'd throw a single unit on LaRon Murphy.
All right. There you have it, UFC. We will not have a full second episode this week. We'll put out a smaller episode previewing a few more college football contests in the middle of the week for everybody until we get back to some full episodes next week. All right, Jimmy, the golf. I don't know what the bigger story is. Is it Rose is just an ageless wonder at this point, or is it that Tommy Fleetwood is just never going to win on the PGA Tour? I don't know which way to start. So I'm going to let you choose. Do we talk about Tommy first, or do we talk about Justin?
Well, I mean, we should talk about Justin because he won it. But Tommy was primed to win this. He really blew it up in the last 3 holes, right?
Again.
Yeah. I mean,
for the second time in 3 months.
Yeah. And his all the things you read, like he's unbelievably gracious in defeat. Like, he doesn't get he's not throwing things around. He's not mad at himself. I mean, I wouldn't be mad at anybody but myself, but I would be mad at myself. I've gotten mad about golf games that don't cost me anything. It costs my time.
Right.
So his ability to stay cool about it is borderline impressive. But yeah, I mean, fell apart. I didn't really fall apart, but he kind of fell apart.
Yeah, well, he fell apart and Rose just surged. But I mean, you're up 3 with, what was he, up 3 with 4 to play this time? So almost the exact same. And then here comes Rose. Birdie. It's just, but Tommy doesn't help himself. I mean, he was in perfect position off the tee on the 16th, the par 5, flies it over, gets relief, and then hits one of probably the worst chips I've ever seen him hit. Runs it right off the green. Bogeys the hole, Rose birdies, 2-shot swing. Good night. I mean, that's all it was.
Yep. Hit 18, hit it right into the bunker.
Right into the bunker, gave himself no chance at birdie there.
Yeah.
At this point, I think he's just so snake bit over here that he is not. I just don't see him winning a PGA Tour event. I think his best chance might be in one of these shortened fields where
He's not that old, right? What is he, 30, in mid-30s?
I think he's mid-30s now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Hey, you never know. I thought it was cool that JJ Spawn was in the playoff. I mean, after coming off a win, like we said, how hard is it to win a couple in a row? I know this isn't a major, but I mean, he's right back in the playoffs. 2 months later. What was that? That was on Father's Day, so it was about 2 months ago.
yeah, he ran in another bomb on the second playoff hole. It was about another 30-footer he made.
Yeah,
But Rose dumped it right in on top of him. So off they go to the third playoff hole, and Rose makes the longer putt, and JJ blows an 8-footer right by.
tough putts. I can't imagine the pressure you feel on a putt like that. And
Rose, it's just at 45. This is just impressive.
Yeah,
by Justin Rose.
and we talked about him in for the Masters episode where you said he's picked on the board, and he was in that. Right?
Yeah,
he wasn't getting blown out. Yeah,
he's tied second. Wasn't that the Masters? He came in second.
I think it was. He was. I think it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was one of the first golf ones did. So yeah, that was cool. I did think way down the board, just because I don't know why I've always liked watching him play, but Ricky Fowler looks like he played himself into the playoffs.
He did. He got into the next event, so we'll see if he can get into Eastlake and get into the top 30. But he's in the top 50 now. We'll see what happens this weekend. But yeah, I mean, my big takeaway was like this guy Rose, when he gets hot with those irons, he just throws freaking darts, and it's just. You just shake your head going, God, he makes so many birdies because his birdie putts are 2 feet. That's how good his iron play was.
Yeah. I wish I knew more about that in my own game.
It's going to be interesting. This Ryder Cup is going to be great. I mean, it really is. It's going to be a very, very good Ryder Cup, I think. I don't think we're going to have anyone blow out the other side this time. I think it's going to be an absolute brawl to the end. That's my prediction for the Ryder Cup. I'll be betting heavy on the U.S., of course, but I think it's going to be a really, really good Ryder Cup this year. All right, before we pivot to some other sports news, I wrote this down because I wonder if Jimmy saw this. Did you see the Southwest story?
Oh, about the two women.
Yeah, they left 2 blind women just sitting there in the goddamn terminal, and then finally someone goes over and says, basically, hey, right this way. They put them on a plane by themselves, and they're like, you're on here by yourself because we left you.
Yeah, and their argument was well, technically they were at the right gate. We rebooked everybody else on earlier flights, but that was the gate they were supposed to be back. They just sat there for 8 hours.
And then they offered him $100 credit. I mean, talk about doubling down on terrible customer service.
Well, I mean, the customer service at an airport is pretty bad. You can't get good customer service anyway. Even the people that work at restaurants and gift shops at airports are always it's the worst.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I brought it up is because I'm just curious. What do you think, when this, I mean, we work for a major corporation. When this gets to the higher levels, like your VPs, do you think someone's sitting there going, good job, only offering 100? Or do you think they're going, they did what?
Yeah. Just give them a flight voucher.
Give them a flight voucher for a free flight and be done with it. Give them whatever they want so this story never gets out. You didn't leave 2 high school. You left 2 blind women there who were counting on you to help them on the plane. You left them there.
Yeah, you forgot about 2 blind women. Yeah. You would think that they would have done a little more. Is that whatever you want?
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want.
Whatever you want. Just don't tell anybody.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yes.
Yeah.
Tell everyone how we made this right. Please don't tell them we forgot about you for 8 freaking hours.
Now they're like, here's $100.
Here's $100, which can barely get your luggage covered these days. But here you go.
Perfect.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable. Good job, Southwest. Well, there was I will digress into this and I'll stop. That was one of the big problems, and maybe it's going to start to get better with all of these airlines merging. Now there's only really 4 major carriers, so they get away with this shit because you don't have a lot of options out there, right? There's the JetBlues and the Alaskas, and you can find some other flights here and there. But because you've got Delta, Southwest, United, and American, they basically control everything. That they give shitty service, and you only have so many options.
This is my last comment on it, because furthermore, Southwest, if you're not going to have fucking seat assignments and you have 2 blind passengers who can't line up for your dopey system, you think you'd pay extra attention to them.
I mean, why? You can just leave them in the seats.
You can just leave them right at the airport.
No big deal. $100.
Here's $100. Sorry for your trouble. Unbelievable. All right. Did you see Cam Little hit from 70 yards in the preseason?
I actually did. I saw that. I didn't see it live, but I saw it on the highlights yesterday. And it goes back to our conversation of like you're gonna get the ball and you're gonna have to basically gain 15 yards and you're gonna be in field goal range. I thought the kid from Dallas would be the first to do it, but Jacksonville said nope.
Not so
Right,
fast.
not so fast. Right,
And we've been saying it for, 3-4 years together that this was going to happen eventually because these kickers are getting so good that they're going to be lining up from 60 to 70 eventually consistently.
Yeah, a 60-yard field goal 20 years ago was like unheard of. Like Morton Anderson had one maybe for like 61. Like somebody out there had one. Now 50 is not even a thing. I mean, eventually fantasy football rules are going to have to give you less points for 50 and more for 60. For all you in the
believe the name you're looking for is Jason Elam, but go ahead.
Was it Elam? Okay, yeah. But yeah, it's going to come down to more accuracy and performance under pressure than just pure leg strength.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, this is the preseason, so hey, let them try it. But do you really want to give the other team the ball at your 40 if you miss a 70-yarder? So I don't think we're going to see many unless it's the end of a half. But I don't think, besides Dan Campbell, who might just be like, give a shot.
It depends on who you've got, right? Who you got kicking the ball. I mean, if Tucker in his prime could make it from 70, they would have thrown him out there probably, right? They trusted him so much. You have a very good point, especially in a close game. Do you want to take this risk or do you want to go for the boot? End of the half for sure. But game winners, I mean, you don't have to get that far. You better pin them down if you're punting.
Yeah, my fear here is, what's going to happen now in home leagues. Cam Little is going to go off the board in round 4. Some of these idiots who draft.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do me a favor. If you're thinking you're drafting Cam Little, don't. There you go. There's your fantasy advice. All right. My other NFL one I wrote down for us is I watched a little bit of the Giants-Bills preseason game. When does Jackson Dart just take over?
Okay, so I figured we'd do this really briefly in live time because I knew you wanted to talk about it. But like most things, it can get somewhat predictable. So let's take a really quick peek at the Giants' schedule and see where we think it's actually going to happen. Because believe me, unless Russell Wilson has them like borderline undefeated, so they've got, let's say they get to, they're 8-2. So like, they've got 2 losses in their first 10 games and they're really on a path to winning. If they're anywhere near roughly mediocre, he's going to start.
I'm going to stop you right. If they go 8-2, I'll find you a new host and I'll retire from sports ever because it means I don't understand sports. The Giants won't win 8 games this year and next year combined.
Yeah, you're likely right. They've got a long week there, but it's not a bye week. When's their bye? Because that's probably when it's going to happen.
Well, I think they're deep. They might be like around. They might be week 14.
They are deep. Jesus. Yeah, they're way deep. They've got a break when they have a Thursday night game and then the following Sunday. So if after they lose on Thursday night to the Eagles on the 9th of October, I bet you. I mean, give
me their schedule. What are the first 5 games again?
Even what I just said, I'm second guessing myself because in that part, I'll get the first 5. They've got the Eagles, then they have to go to the Broncos, who have an awesome defense. Then they're playing at the Eagles. So I don't know if you throw up. Maybe you might not throw them to the Wolves against those in those 3. Yeah. They start out with the Commanders, Cowboys, Chiefs, Chargers, Saints. So they're probably 1-4.
1-4.
Yeah, 1-4. Then they have then Eagles, Broncos, Eagles.
Okay.
So that's not a great place to throw Jackson Dart in, though. Like, hey, so here's where you're going.
So you're week 9. He's in week 9.
Well, then they're home with the 49ers coming. So I think that's a place they could do. And if not, they're on the road against the Bears the next week.
I'm gonna go home against the Niners. He's definitely the starter.
All right. So that's
he's the starter at week 5 for all we know. You put him in against the Saints. They're 0-4. Let Jackson Dart get some confidence.
Right. Yeah, I could see that happening. Yeah, no, you're not wrong. They're 0-4. And look, there's 2 more preseason games. We'll see how he looks. But, yeah, you very well could be right. I mean, they started back in the day. Kurt Warner wasn't playing poorly. I know it's a different regime now, so it doesn't really matter. But Kurt Warner wasn't playing poorly, and they still stuck Eli Manning in there. And then Kurt Warner went to Arizona and took him to Super Bowl. But, so I don't know. Russell Wilson's not going anywhere and taking him to the Super Bowl, to be clear. But You could be right. I think maybe it's week 5, but that I'm going to stick with you on week 9 when they play the Niners.
All right, talk to me about your boy, your quarterback Shador. What'd you think?
Look, I thought it was really good. I thought it's really tough to tell because he's playing against backups, but he's playing with backups. I like the two. I recorded it because it was actually on NFL Network, and I wanted to. I didn't want to be forced to watch everything, but I wanted to make sure I saw him in there. Mason Graham played as well. But no, I thought he looked really good. I thought his 2 touchdown passes were in tight spaces. He didn't try to play hero ball. He didn't turn the ball over. He's not going to get that much time in the NFL, when the regular season starts. But this is what it showed me, is that I don't know that he'll ever be great. I'm not going to proclaim any of that, but he's at least a real quarterback. Like, he looked like an NFL quarterback. And when you're a Browns fan, that's a big deal, right? So I think that it was better than I expected him to look. You?
Okay. It reminded me of college. It's just the check downs. I can see that happening a lot in the NFL with him, where he's going to look to check down quite a bit, and I don't think that's going to get the job done in the NFL like it did sometimes for Colorado.
And you might be right. He like I said, his touchdown passes weren't checked out. They were really nice throws. He had a couple checkdowns, and he floated a couple balls as well. The one big highlight they show of him down the sideline to the rookie. I can't remember his name. I don't know why I'm drawing a blank, but he made a great one-handed catch. Now, he's only 5'8", so he's used to probably throwing to receivers a little bit taller. But there was a couple other passes he should have completed that he floated. So I saw nothing to say this guy's going to be a superstar, but I saw enough to say he should be a quarterback. Like, maybe he's for sure a backup. There's a reasonable chance he's a starter. I mean, you can't. I saw that game, and I didn't think his ceiling rose any higher, but I think that he was certainly worth a 5th round pick. How about that?
All right, fair enough. All right, well, my on one of our YouTube shorts in our last episode, my Franklin take got a little heat. We got some comments that came in, and they were all basically telling me the guy can't win a big game and he shouldn't get a pass. And so I took some heat for that, and I'm gonna double down, and I'm just gonna say once again, those games he wasn't supposed to win. He was a dog in most of them. I get it. He hasn't beat a top 5 team, but it's not like he was a 22-point favorite who keeps getting beat. Like, he's losing to teams that should beat him, and I got a lot of heat saying, yeah, but why does that matter? He still hasn't won one. I get it. Understand. This time, what I'm saying is he should be the better team. This year is when he pays it all back. And when Penn State is the national champions, you can all write, we're sorry, Greg, we should have listened to you. Because that's who's going to win the national championship. Penn freaking State. And we'll have more on that on our future show. That's probably who I'm picking, Jimmy. All right. SEC news. Not really news, but something came out. Thought it was great. Caught my eye. Seems like Chucky, John Gruden himself, wants to come back and coach in the SEC. Where would you put him? Where does he go?
I don't know. I mean, I heard that the NFL teams are secretly thinking about him for next season. Like, they're already thinking about, hey, if we have an opening, it's almost like they've waited enough time for the Gruden controversy to pass. And like, hey, now we can kind of give him a shot. So that might be the case, but I don't know. I mean, I have no idea where you put him in the SEC.
Hey, Brian Kelly.
Yeah.
Better win week 1.
Yeah, but I mean, based on the shit Gruden's done, I mean, it does, make it harder, I would think. I mean, to recruit, right?
Yeah.
Eh?
Look, I don't know. I think if he wants to coach in the SEC, eventually someone's gonna take a shot on him.
Yeah, I'm sure somebody will.
Arkansas.
Yeah, I mean, he was a very good coach. There were people that argued how great of a coach he was because he really, when he won in Tampa, he inherited the team, but he was really good he inherited Tony Dungy's team, but he was really good in Oakland.
He got Oakland to a Super Bowl too.
Yeah, and he probably and if they didn't have the tuck rule, he might have got him to a second one. Who knows?
That's a great point. That's a really good point. So yeah, he got screwed in that. That's for sure. All right, let's jump into a couple conferences, end the show that way. We'll start with the Big 12. This, to me, is probably the most wide open conference out there. Arizona State coming off that run they made last year out of nowhere because they were picked to finish dead last and they wound up making the college playoff. Kind of leads the betting, but again, wide open. Is anybody jump off the page at you here that you like in this conference? I think this is by far the most intriguing with K-State 550, Arizona State 550, Utah plus 600, Texas Tech plus 600, just all jumbled up. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really know. The only reason I know anything about Arizona State is they'd had a feature on them on ESPN the other day with the coach, and it was pretty, it was entertaining. It was interesting. Seems like Arizona State is sort of on the map now. I no, I mean, I don't. I'm not going to pretend to be a Big 12 expert, but nothing really jumps out. It's disappointing to see West Virginia not be a competitive football club anymore. Like that kind of makes me sad. I can't believe how bad Oklahoma State is predicted to be. Remember when Blackman played there and they had a couple really good runs. I can't believe they're so far down the board. K-State allegedly going to be pretty good this year.
Well, let's run through it, kind of see where we land. We'll start with Arizona. They're picked second last in this conference. They're going to return 16 starters, so they're getting back almost their whole defense. Not that matters coming off a 4-8 season. They returned 7 on offense, including the quarterback, but again, coming off a 4-8 season, 2-10 against the spread, so even worse there. Anytime this team has high hopes, they seem to just can't put it together. So they're not going to play in that first week 0, but then they start with Hawaii, so a game that they probably should win. Then they get Weber State, so they're going to win that. But then they go right to Kansas State at home, at Iowa State, Oklahoma State, BYU, at Houston, at Colorado, Kansas at home, at Cincinnati, Baylor, at Arizona State. The schedule is not easy, especially if you're not a very good team to start with. So prediction is 4.5 wins. I mean, the only one I say, yeah, they're definitely going to win that game is Weber State. After that, there's not one other one here that I'd say, yeah, they're definitely winning that game. So I would lean to the under here. I don't expect much from this team. I think the 1,000-1 for them to win it all is probably not fair. Should probably be 10,000.
I think that the 25-1 for them to make the playoffs should be like the 1,000-1, and the champion should be not off the board because nobody wants to take the exposure for $1.
This team's not going anywhere, Jimmy. But their rival, Arizona State, ranked number 1 in the conference. National, they're getting around 19th, 20th. Coach Dillingham in his 3rd year, they were 11-3 last year, 12-2 against the spread. They were kind of the Cinderella that took off, made the playoff, made a little run. They were very, very exciting to watch. They have lost Scattenbow, who is now in the NFL, so could be hard. I don't know who's replacing him at running back. They are returning 17 starters and the quarterback, which is big, especially coming off a winning season. You run their schedule down. I mean, they're going to slaughter Northern Arizona. They go to Mississippi State, and they'll be a favorite. They play Texas State, that they're going to pound them. At Baylor will be a good game. They get TCU at home. They go to Utah. The big advantage here, they get Texas Tech at home, but they go to Iowa State. It's kind of a split schedule now that I'm kind of stepping back and looking at it for home and away here. Like, they get a couple good teams at home, a couple good on the road, but maybe that's just because this Big 12 is so wide open. I feel that way. Their win total's 8.5. Probably fair. This conference for me is the hardest to predict. I'm probably going to take a pass on 8.5 and the 550 with this team. I think I want to look for a little more value.
I think the 8.5 happens. I mean, 11-3 last season, and like you said, they're returning the majority of their team on both sides of the ball. They seem to have a little energy down there. They made the playoffs last year. I don't think 8.5 is a crazy number, so I think I would take the over there. And again, I would probably take them to win the conference over to make the playoffs. Just a little more value there to me, but maybe I'm crazy.
Yeah. I mean, the problem is how many teams are you going to get in out of the Big 12? I guess that's what you got to look at, right?
I think 3, maybe.
Then, yeah, maybe make the playoff plus 380. Maybe people feel good about that. Like, hey, maybe we don't win it, but if we get, I think they're going to get one, maybe 2 teams in.
Yeah, you
Maybe.
might be right.
So I could see either way if you believe in this team. I don't know if they run it back without having that without having a dynamic playmaker like they had last year.
Yeah, you could be right.
Baylor coming off 8-5, 9-4 against the spread. They're going to return 18 starters, basically the whole offense, including the quarterback. 8 on defense. Their schedule, they start out with Auburn, then they go to SMU, then they get a break with Samford, Arizona State, then at Oklahoma State, Kansas State. They get to play at home, which is an advantage, obviously. They go to TCU. TCU's not that great this year. At Cincinnati, UCF at home, Utah at home. Getting Utah at home, always an advantage, obviously. Utah is not an easy place to play. Go to Arizona, and then get Houston at home. A lot of people like this team at 7-1. They're right outside the top 25. They're probably a top 30, 35 team in the country. Win total 7.5. This could be a team that could surprise, I guess. The problem I have with this is, teams can lose confidence quick, and there's a very good chance this team gets off to an 0-2 start.
Yeah, certainly not doing them any favors. But if they can get 1-1 there, and then they have Samford, then they could somehow get past Arizona State. They'd be sitting really, really nice, 3-1. I don't think it's going to happen. I think they're 1-3, or at best case 2-2, but probably 1-3 coming out. So no, I think under 7.5, because to your point, start losing confidence. You already have 3 losses under your belt after 4 weeks. Don't have a lot of faith in it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm going to pass on Baylor. I think there's a better chance it lands on 7 than 8. So I'm not. I think it's a good number. I'm going to pass on it. BYU. I think this is going to be a down year for them, Jimmy. They lost just about everybody. They're returning 4 on offense, 4 on defense. Predicted 9th in the conference. I don't know. You look at this schedule. Obviously, they should beat Portland State, and then they get a not so great Stanford team. So maybe they get off to an 2-0 start. They get to go to East Carolina, which they probably should win. At Carolina, coin flip. West Virginia at home. Arizona on the road. Utah they get at home. But then they kind of go through the meat of the schedule. At Iowa State, at Texas Tech, TCU at home, at Cincy, and then they finish with UCF at home. They're 20-1 to win the conference, 10-1. The 6.5 number is probably good. If you believe they can rebuild, the schedule isn't a bear. I mean, they could get through those first 5 games, and it wouldn't shock me if somehow we sat here. They upset. Well, it wouldn't even be that big of an upset, but they beat Colorado, let's say, and they're sitting here at 5-0 going to Arizona. I wouldn't be shocked. It's the second half of that schedule that's gonna be daunting for them. It's hard game after hard game until they get down to their final game of the year, which they get Central Florida at home. They probably should beat them.
Yeah, I don't know. It always worries me when you lose this many starters off the team. It's not that it can't happen. It's just I don't know BYU football in depth. I'm certainly not following the recruiting class. So unless we really think there's a reason to take a deep dive into that, then I'd probably avoid.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. All right, here's my intriguing team of the Big 12. Cincinnati Bearcats. Coach comes into his 3rd year. They were 5-7 last year, 4-7-1 against the spread. They're going to bring back 15 starters, 7 on offense, including the quarterback. I like the quarterback, and I like the offense of this team. That's why I think maybe this is this year's Arizona State in the Big 12. I look at their schedule. They're going to play Nebraska. They can beat Nebraska. Then they're going to get Bowling Green and Northwestern State at home. They could be sitting at 3-0. They're going to go to Kansas. They'll be a dog. They get Iowa State at home. Advantage there, obviously. They get them at home. Then they get UCF, not that great of a football team, and you already brought it up. Oklahoma State, not a good football team this year. Then they get Baylor at home. Again, another tough game, but they get it at home. At Utah will be a tough game, obviously. But then they come right back with Arizona and BYU at home, and then they'll go to TCU, and who knows? I mean, projection now is they'll be a dog, a touchdown dog in that game, but who knows what it really will be on November 29th. I don't hate a shot on this team. The schedule is not that hard. They're 30-1 to win the conference. This would be my long shot play in the Big 12. If you're going to take a shot, I don't hate 30-1, and I think that might have floated up a little bit at some spots. So 30-1 right now at DraftKings. You can find some 33s and 35s out there, I see. So what do you think? I think Cincy would be my long shot play.
I don't think it's a bad play. I think that the over 6.5 wins, the way you just broke it down, it seems like, okay, it's going to be dicey. They could go for 10. I mean, they've got a good quarterback. And their defense has gotten some good write-ups, right? Like they're going to be better than expected. They've got decent defensive backs. They're healthy again this year. They've got I don't remember his name. They've got a tight end that's really, really good. So I think that they could be a surprise team. And if you think the long shot at 30-1 to win the conference, why not throw a couple units on the 6.5 win total? Because I would think that would come in because that could hit, and they could, right, and they'll win the conference. So yeah, if they're gonna be a real player this year, I think the 6.5 wins is an easy over.
All right, here we go. They're here. Time to talk about them. 10th, they are projected in the conference right now. The Colorado Buffaloes and Deion Sanders. They were 9-4 last year. They were also 9-4 against the spread. They are returning only 11 total starters. 3 on offense, that's a problem. And 8 on defense, but their defense was atrocious. So who cares? I don't like this team. I didn't like them last year. Thought they were overrated. I think they are in for a rough season. 6.5 is a generous win total. I think it's only 6.5 because they'll get the Deion love. I think a better win total for this team was probably 5.5. I'm going to play the under 6.5. I give this team no chance. I think 28-1 to win the conference is an absolute joke. It should be 70-1. Good luck with this schedule. What's your thoughts on the Buffaloes?
Yeah, I know they got they after obviously Shador left, they got a pretty highly recruited kid, and they got someone else out of from the transfer portal. So they have 2 quarterbacks that they hope one can battle out to win it. But either way, I mean, I don't remember the transfer portal kid. Obviously not super high level, and the other kid we'll talk about Michigan, Bryce Underwood at some point, but. If it's a freshman, you don't know what you're going to get. So I would, I'd go under on this.
Next team, Houston. I got no feel on this. They were 4-8 last year, 6-6 against the spread. Coach is in his second year. They're going to return 15, 8 on offense, 7 on D. I got no feel on Houston. I wouldn't make a bet either way, over or under 6.5 wins. I don't think they're going to win the conference, obviously, or make the playoff. But I'd pass on that win total.
Agreed.
All right, Iowa State. They are right in the middle of the pack here. They're projected 7th in the conference. They get about a 35 national rating. Where do they fall here? Let me look at live odds. 11-1 right now at DraftKings to win the conference. Big game to start. Kansas State on a neutral field overseas. Then South Dakota and Iowa at home. That Iowa game is always a fun one, always a close game, so it won't be easy even though it's at home. They get Arkansas State and Arizona, so those will be winnable games. Cincy, coin flip. At Colorado, probably a coin flip. BYU at home is a good one for them. They get them at home. Don't have to go to BYU. Arizona State, they get at home. That's a big advantage. They get Kansas at home as well. They go to TCU and Oklahoma State. The schedule isn't terrible. They're returning 7 starters on offense, including the QB. So obviously when you're getting the QB back, that's always big. They were, coming off, like I said, 11-3 last year. Only 6 coming back on defense, so they're going to have to kind of reload a little bit on defense. Over 7.5, 11-1. You taking a shot here at all, or is it a pass for you on the Cyclones this year?
Probably pass in general. I would lean towards the over. I like these. I like totals. A lot of these college conferences, you just figure out who you think is going to be terrible, and there's enough teams out there they're going to beat up on each other. So, I like the totals, and a lot of times I like the unders because I think on teams that are pretty evenly matched, they're gonna wear each other out. So I'd probably avoid. I mean, they were 11-3. Like I said, they have a lot of people coming back. They've got a relatively tenured coach, Matt Campbell. 7.5 is a good number. Gun to my head, I would have to say I would go over on this one. I definitely am off of the 11-1 on the conference and the plus 900 to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm gonna go under here for one reason and one reason only. I can only say with confidence, all right, they're gonna win these 4 games. After that, it seems to be all coin flips. So I'm gonna lean to the under here.
Yeah. Fair.
All right, Jimmy, it's time to talk about them. Our absolute nemesis, the Kansas Jayhawks, who just beat us up in every which way and form in every sport last year. We bet them, they'd lose. We bet against them, they'd win. They're picked right in the middle of the pack here. They're going to return only 10 starters, 5 on offense, including the QB, and 5 on defense. They are, 18-1 to win the conference, 11-1 to make the playoff. The schedule isn't crazy, but I don't know. I just don't believe in Jalen Daniels. I mean, it's his, I don't know. Isn't he been there 20 years at this point? He hasn't done it yet. Is he really going to turn it around this year? I'll tell you right now, I've already made a play. I got a play in pocket against them in week 0. I got Fresno State getting the 2 touchdowns. Yeah, they'll beat Wagner. Great. Good for you. You're not going to beat Missouri. You got West Virginia at home. That should be a win. But Cincy could beat you, even though you'll be a favorite. You'll go to Central Florida, probably stub your toe because that's what you do. Texas Tech, you got to go there. Good luck. They're going to pound you. You get Kansas State at home, and you'll be a dog. You'll beat Oklahoma State. You'll probably beat Arizona on the road because it won't matter anymore if you win or lose. Iowa State will smack you on the 22nd because it'll be a meaningful game for them. And you get Utah at home, and if it means anything, I'm sure you'll lose that game. I'm out on Kansas. I'll be out on Kansas for a long, long time. The win total, 7.5. Pound the under. Lock it up. Jayhawks win 6 games this year, maybe.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Stick to basketball, Kansas. And this is one I look at, like that Cincinnati game where they're going to be favored. I think pivotal. I agree that I think Cincinnati can beat them, and that's where you pound the under here and take the over with the Bearcats, like we discussed, right? Because I do think that game is going to be if they lose Cincinnati, there's no way they get anywhere near sniffing 7.5 wins, right? So you can cash that ticket basically after that week, in my opinion.
Then we go to Kansas State. And they got, a nice experienced coach coming off 9-4 last year. Weren't great against the spread, so if you were betting on them last year, you probably aren't a huge K-State fan. They're returning 10 starters, 5 on offense, 5 on D. But they're getting their quarterback back. And he, he's a Heisman contender. People like him. I mean, he could have a shot at the Heisman this year. So Avery Johnson is one you might want to look at to take a shot at the Heisman. This is a interesting schedule. I mean, it really is. They get Iowa State right off the bat. I like K-State in week 0. Then they get North Dakota and Army at home. They go to Arizona. They get UFC at home. They're 5-0 probably in my book. Then they go to Baylor. That'll be an interesting game. We'll see where those 2 teams are at October 4th. TCU at home, they should win. We both are going to like them at Kansas in that rivalry game. They get Texas Tech at home. That's a big one, I think. That was going to be a big game this year on November 1st. That could decide the conference, in my opinion, or at least one of the teams that's going to the championship. They're going to beat Oklahoma State. Utah will be a coin flip game, and then they should beat Colorado at home that last week of the year. I don't fault anyone who wants to take a shot on them plus 550 in the conference. This is the team I would bet at plus 550. I would go Kansas State over Arizona State if you were going to bet one of those two, and I would go over 8.5 wins with K-State because I love them getting off to a quick start this year.
Yeah, we just got done bitching about Kansas. Wouldn't it just be like Kansas to upset this and win the game at home? But I agree. I think you're right on the money. 9-4, like you said last year. Hopefully, the quarterback Johnson, he's got an actual shot at that Heisman. That I'm interested in the odds on that. I can check them later or next show. But yeah, I think it's a pretty reasonable play.
All right, Oklahoma State. Gundy, Godspeed. He's been there forever. They were 3-9. Straight up 3-9 against the spread. They're returning 10 starters, 4 on offense, 6 on defense. The schedule's not easy. They don't look very good. The win total's 5.5. I think the under is in play quite a bit here. I don't trust this team at all. I certainly don't trust them against this schedule. How do you feel about Oklahoma State?
It's just a big avoid for me. Said you'd think that they would turn it around. Mike Gundy, to your point, has been a coach for a couple decades there. Had some really great moments, but right now doesn't look good.
Yeah, I'm with you there. The Horned Frogs. All right, they're projected 6th here. They're again another top 35 team nationally. Returning 14, 6 on offense, 8 on D. Quarterback is back. 9-4 last year, just about 500 against the spread. They go to the Hoodie to start the year. So at North Carolina should be a good game to start the year. Then they get a cupcake. Then they get SMU at home. That'll be a battle. At Arizona State, at Kansas State are 2 that stand out for me. Those will be tough games. They get Baylor at home, one of the teams that could be competitive. They got to go to BYU, which is very tricky. Houston shouldn't be a problem. They get Cincinnati at home to end the year. This schedule is tough. That's why their win total is only 6.5. That's why I'm going to pass. I think this is a great win total. I would not take them plus 850 to win the conference or plus 700 to make the playoff. I think this is just too hard of a schedule. So I'm gonna pass on TCU. But if you were saying, hey, make a pick, I would slightly lean under.
These are I mean, again, we talk about how these lines are made. So, right, 6.5 is just, it's begging you to take the over, which tells me that the under might be the right play.
Yep.
Right? Because it's 6.5, for a team that won 9 games last year that has, I'll call it half their starters coming back, including the quarterback. It's like, yeah, why would it get a bunch, worse? We just talked. They've got some extremely winnable games there. It's just one of those lines that feels too good to be true.
With you. All right. I'm going to skip ahead for a sec here. UFC, Scott Frost winds up here in his first year. They're returning 9, 3 on offense, 6 on D. 4-8 last year, 5-7 against the spread. Win totals 5.5. Good luck. I got no feeling here. If I was betting anything, I'd say Scott Frost is going to have a rough first year here. I think 55-1 to win the conference is probably the right number. I don't think they got a chance. Straight pass for me on this team.
Yeah, agreed. Long gone is the time where they claimed themselves co-champions.
Here we go again. Utah. Like, this team just never goes away. Winningham in his 21st season, 5-7 last year, both straight up and against the spread. They're returning 17 players from a team that had a lot of expectations last year, but went through a lot of injury issues. They're getting back to quarterback. They, like I said, they're projected 4th here in the conference. They're a top 30 team nationally. You look at the schedule, it's not terrible. Win total 7.5. I'm gonna probably lean to the over here because you look, they should get off to a win against UCLA. Then they get Cal Poly something. I don't even know what the hell that is. They're going to be a huge favorite. At Wyoming, they'll be a big favorite. They got Texas Tech at home. That's a big thing. They go to West Virginia, they'll be a favorite. Arizona State, they get them at home. At BYU, then they get Colorado and Cincinnati at home. They go to Baylor, and they get Kansas State at home. This is why the team's 6-1 to win the conference, because the schedule couldn't have broken better for them. They get all the tough teams at home. So I am going to go over 7.5 with Utah. I think it's a really good play. I think you can feel pretty comfortable here. That's my play with them. I'm not betting them to win the conference, but I will take the over 7.5.
I think it's a good argument. College football, that home field advantage really makes a difference. You taught me that years ago, and same thing with in basketball, home court. But the fact that they're getting their tougher games at home, and like I said, Utah's not an easy place to play. I'm with you.
All right. West Virginia, I think they're going to be not great this year. I think they're going to have a very tough year. They're only bringing back 10 players. They were 6-7 last year, 5-8 against the spread. Schedule doesn't really break their way. I mean, they're going to beat Bobby Morris to start the year. But then they go to Ohio. That'll be a tricky game. Pitt at home. That'll be a tricky game. To Kansas, they'll be a big dog. Utah at home, they'll be a dog. They're going to be a dog at BYU and probably at UCF. There'll be a dog at TCU. It'll be a coin flip at Houston, coin flip with Colorado at home. There'll be a big dog at Arizona State, and there'll be a dog at home against Texas Tech. I mean, they're going to be favored in 2, maybe 3 games this year. So I would slam the under 5.5 here.
Yeah, it makes me sad because I'm rooting for Richard Rodriguez. Rich Rod didn't have a great stint in Michigan, but I worked with the guy at the time in Florida that loved West Virginia, everything about it. Rich Rodriguez was there. I think he does get this thing right. I just think it's a year early. So watch out for him in the next couple of years. I think he's going to turn the program back around, but this is not going to be that year.
Yeah, no, that's a good take. Yeah, a couple of years, maybe he gets them turned around. All right, I want to end here. Texas Tech. I won't even hold back. This is my pick, 6-1. I think this team is primed to win this conference. Joey McGuire's back in his 4th year. They're projected 3rd. They are 26 nationally right now as their power ranking. 8-5 straight up, 7-5-1 against the spread last year. They're returning 21 starters, 10 on offense, including the quarterback, and 11 on defense. I think the schedule is perfect for them. I think it's easy. They get a cupcake, 2 cupcakes where they'll be favored by 40 and 50 points. Then they get Oregon State at home. They go to Utah, which I think they'll win. At Houston, should be a win. Kansas, they get at home. Arizona State will be a tough game, but then they get Oklahoma State at home. They go to Kansas State, and I think they'll split. They'll get one of those games. They'll either win at Arizona State or they'll win at Kansas State. And then they get BYU and UCF at home, and they end the year at West Virginia. I think this team is prime to win 9-10 games here. I love the over. Love them to win the conference. What do you think, Jimmy?
I like it. I think the only thing that would make me at all concerned is theoretically their 3 hardest games are all on the road, right? Utah, Arizona State, K-State, all on the road. So if they can get even one of those 2, I think they're over hits at 8.5. If they can't, I think it's going to be, it'll be tricky. But like you said, they've got, basically everybody coming back as a starter, right? They were 8-5 last year. They should be better. They did some work in the transfer portal. So I like it. And at 6-1, take a shot on them to win the conference if you'd like.
Yep, love them to win the conference. Love them to make the playoff. I think this is a good team to bet this year. And again, I love their over. I think they're an experienced team, primed to make a run. All right, look, thank you for listening today. What we're going to do is Wednesday, we will break down the Big Ten and SEC. We'll get that posted for you, and we'll put out our second edition of Picks and Six for the NFL preseason week 2. Again, if you like the show, hit that follow, subscribe button, and please recommend us to a friend. Follow us on X and Instagram at WhoYouGot33. And again, check out our YouTube shorts at WhoYouGot33 on YouTube as well. And give our friends a follow at KC Sports Authority on their YouTube channel. They will put up some of our content. Again, we will do some crossover episodes with them. One is already posted on their channel. And as always, keep sending any comments and questions our way at WhoYouGot33@gmail.com. Jimmy, any final words?
Looking forward to breaking down the Big 75 or however many teams they have next week.
All right. Good luck, everybody. Let's cash some future tickets on Texas Tech. And remember, it's never under till it's over.